Good evening, gospel revolutionaries around the world. This is Michael Lilborn Williams coming to you live from the bonus room above my sister's garage. We appreciate you joining me tonight and us being able to have some time together. Guess what subject we're on? The gospel of peace. You guessed it. We are... I'm not sure what that was. They were asking me if I wanted to share the video, and I thought, well, of course I do. We are on the gospel of peace, which we're going to stay on as long as I have breath in these lungs. There is something so powerful that the entire gospel is based upon, and Paul called it the gospel of peace. Now, as I've shared with you several times before as we've gone into this, that the gospel of peace is something that the vast majority of Christianity does not acknowledge, because the gospel of peace says that God was once angry, but then God declared peace with the entire world at the cross. So whenever you hear Christian doctrine that there's violence coming from God and that God's going to do this and he's mad about that, the gospel of peace says, no, that's not right. But then on the other side of the coin, we have the mystic who says that not only is God not angry now, he never was. Just forget about it. And we've got a lot of people who have been a part of, well, not a lot. There's 2 or 3 people who've been a part of the gospel revolution and we're friends with. These are not people that I have controversy with, them especially as persons. But we do have controversy with some of the things that you teach from a mystic point of view. Now, what is a mystic? A mystic is someone who has had an experience that tells them they are one with God or the earth or the universe. There's just this overwhelming awareness of oneness. And that is a wonderful experience. And I think the reason they can have that and the gospel of peace legitimizes the mystic experience is because that's true. God is one with them and the entire world, whether they've been able to believe or hear the right thing or believe the right thing whatsoever. But when the mystic begins to try to teach the scriptures, that seems to be where the problem starts. To be able to set your experience above the actual scriptures, which Jesus said you need to study the scriptures because in them, he said they all are about him. So why are the mystics such as the Mirror Bible and those who follow that particular ilk of mysticism, why are they so afraid of the Old Testament? Why are they so reticent to even quote the Old Testament? I did get a communication. We've not gotten any communication from folks. I've asked the question, please just show me where that shows this, that God was never angry. I'm going to get to it. It's part of the communication. You're going to have to listen to the Powercast that comes out next Friday to go through all of this, because we've gotten 2 responses, but still no one has answered my question. Please show me in the text of the Old Testament or New Testament where it says that God was never angry. They have not been able to come up with it. Now, it's been 5 months since I've been asking this question, but now we've had a couple of attempts. But I want to show you what those attempts look like, at least in this particular show tonight. Isaiah 54 is what we've been focusing on, but I'm going to read Isaiah 54 and then can show you that prophecy about Isaiah continued on in this vein. It says in Isaiah 54, "For this is as the waters of Noah unto me. For as I have sworn that the waters of Noah would no more go over the earth, so I have sworn that I would not be wroth with thee, nor rebuke thee." So God makes a promise, I'm not going to be angry with you again. Now, the mystic says that Isaiah got all of this wrong. Moses got all of it wrong. In fact, they say that all of the prophets, Moses, everybody got it wrong, because my experience says that God was never angry. Now, I don't care who you are. Really, you can have any type of spirituality, and we're not here to beat up on the mystic. But the one thing that I don't want to see happen, which is the concerted effort to undermine the scriptures for generations to come. Because that is what's being taught in Grace Global Seminary out of Texas, just outside of Houston. What they're teaching, because I'm in contact with several of these folks. Some of them won't communicate that well with us. In fact, we've asked them some questions, and they just don't reply. And we really would like to know some answers as to why they've taken this to such drastic measures. I tell you, and you say, what drastic measures? Folks, when you can say without any shame at all that the scriptures are not valid, there's something that you have made a exit away from truth that absolutely is unexplainable to me. Because the scriptures, Jesus studied the scriptures, Paul quoted the scriptures. They may not, Peter, James, and John may not have agreed together with Paul about the scriptures, but at least they knew where to go to try to figure this out. It was to go to the scriptures. And the reason that you can find it in the scriptures is things like Isaiah 54, for the mountains shall depart and the hills be removed, but my kindness shall not depart from thee, neither shall the covenant of my peace be removed, saith the Lord that hath mercy that hath mercy on you. So the covenant of peace to the mystic is an insult. They are offended by the gospel. They are offended by the gospel of peace. What is the gospel of peace? The gospel of peace is God was once angry and promised that after the cross he would no longer be angry. So they are offended, and Jesus said, blessed is he who is not offended in me. And the mystic is offended in this understanding that very clearly defined throughout the Old Testament and the New, that God declared peace with the entire human race at the cross. Now, I want to go forward here to Isaiah chapter 61. And as I go there, I want to read to you. I'm not going to, they may want us to give their name out, but I haven't cleared that yet. But I want to read the response to my question. Can anybody out there please show me where the Bible says that God was never angry? And this is the communication that I got. The answer is within John 10:10. Now, John 10:10 says, the thief cometh not but for to steal, kill, and destroy, but I have come that you might have life and it more abundantly. I don't know how that John 10:10 ends the debate. I mean, just one verse ends the debate. For he said, from God, but the power of fear man used on others. Jesus himself said that the law, aka separatist God. Now see, here's another problem I have with you guys. You come up with these terms to try to trick people's minds into thinking you know what you're talking about. Whose term is this? The separatist God. Can't you at least stick with Bible terminology to explain your doctrine? You not only deny what the scriptures have to say, but you come up with your own things like a separatist God. Who said the law means a separatist God? Now, you read it in somebody's book and you believed it, and shame on you for doing such a thing. He says was from Moses, but grace and truth came from Jesus Christ. Now, what it actually says is it doesn't have anything in it that says something about a separatist God. It says the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. He says here, if Moses had it right that God got angry, then when Jesus is on the cross, why wasn't it shown? Well, let me tell you, my friend, it was prophesied. Just because you couldn't see it with your physical eye did not mean that it did not happen. God knows your mysticism can't be seen with the physical eye. So why doubt that Christ actually accomplished something that you couldn't see with your physical eye? Let me tell you what God said through Isaiah that would happen at the cross. And he said in Isaiah 61, in fact, this is referred to in later communications with this one particular friend. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and to the opening of the prisons to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord, and the day of the vengeance of our God, and to comfort all that mourn. You know why you can't see it at the cross? Because the cross was two things, according to the scriptures. It was the day of the vengeance of our God and the day of redemption for the whole world. It all happened at the same time. But there's a denial of this across the board in this mystic experience. To go on to kind of affirm that my friend here proves, now I want you to get this. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh at you. I'm laughing at this concept of finding out what truth is. So here is how this response has come to me that proves that God was never angry. I myself have asked God that if it's true that he killed people or told people to do so, then take my life. And he has proven time and again that he is not at all who Moses made him out to be. Yikes! I prayed and asked God, if you were ever angry, just go ahead and kill me right now. And he didn't. So there's proof. Oh, my goodness. I've got the option to cry or laugh, and I'm choosing to laugh right now because, folks, this is a departure from anything that would be what the scriptures teach. Jesus said, now is the judgment of this world, and if I be lifted up, I'm going to draw it all unto me. Why? Because he knew, being God himself, that Isaiah said that this was the day of the vengeance of our God, and also to comfort all that mourn. He says, I know that your mind cannot accept a day of vengeance is a day of comfort. But see, in God's economy, it was a day of vengeance and a day of comfort, all at the same time, all in a split second. This incredible power translated us into a whole new kingdom, a whole new world, a new heaven, a new earth, a new creation. But the mystic in this persuasion says that, oh no, we were always okay. We were okay from way before the garden. We were righteous and holy and perfect. We always have been, and you're never going to convince me otherwise. Now, I know I'm not going to convince you. My goal here in offering up these things is to not try to convince you, because I realize that once somebody has been able to say the scriptures are not valid, and that's what my friend here has said, the scriptures are not valid. That's what Francois du Toit has said. The scriptures are not valid. It's what Don Keithley says. He says the scriptures are not valid. In fact, I read one of his posts that says, you're not going to catch me going back and reading the Old Testament. He said, now occasionally, if I can find something there that agrees with what I teach, I'll read it. But otherwise, I ain't going back there. Folks, there's a real gospel. It's called the gospel of peace. I didn't come up with it. Like my friend here came up with this term, the separatist God. I'm not even sure what that means, except it's designed to try to get people to accept a teaching that is not in the Bible. Let me repeat this. Now, I love mystics. The mystic has an experience going up an elevator, sitting on a mountaintop, in an emergency room, in chaos or in peace, and suddenly they know without anybody teaching them anything that they are one with God, the universe, the earth. They just have this incredible, overwhelming, mystical experience of oneness. The reason they can have it is because the gospel is true. But just because you had that experience doesn't mean you know what made that experience available to you. See, I know what made the mystic experience possible. It's called the gospel of peace. So for all my mystic friends out there, man, stick with it. But stop trying to teach the Bible. It's just, you don't know how much you're embarrassing yourself by explaining to people how that Moses was wrong, when Jesus said Moses was right. In fact, Jesus said, if you don't believe Moses, you can't believe me. And then my friend here says Moses got it wrong. Well, again, and I'm asking once again, there's nothing here that you've written. I hear what he's saying, but not one place has he said, here is where it's taught in the Bible. He did try to pass off John 10 as being an answer for this question of where is it written, and that just is not, it doesn't say that in those verses. I know in your mind you think it does, but it simply doesn't. And let me remind you, we're not mad at anybody. The gospel of peace takes away the need to be angry at people, especially if you disagree with them about doctrine. But a lot of these people really are getting hot under the collar with me, and they're refusing to answer my staff. We've gone on and asked them in open forums about and these are just reasonable questions, and they just refuse to answer. I've gotten a list of 8 books to read so that I can understand this. But you know what I've not gotten from them? A single line that says that their doctrine is in the text. It is extracurricular activities at best. Now, if you're a mystic, you'll find a home in the gospel revolution. You'll find affirmation. You'll find that all the love in the world, because we know that the reason that you've had the mystic experience is because the gospel of peace affirms that. It's here. It's just in the air. So we are wanting to help you understand why it's here. There's a very firm and very confirmed reason. Please stop reducing the work of the cross to just a revelation, because that's what you guys are saying. This is not just a revelation. The cross is where everything changed. We love you.